Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dietrich and today I am going to teach you how to use adaptive cruise assist with lane guidance on an Audi. The particular car that we're sitting in is a 2024 Audi RS3, but should work pretty similarly on any contemporary Audi model. So what this system is, the adaptive cruise assist, works a lot like a traditional cruise control system, but it's much more advanced. If you're out on the open road and you set your speed and there's no cars around, you're just going to go the speed that you've set. But if you catch up to somebody who's going slower than you, or if you set it when there's already traffic in front of you, what it does is it locks onto the car in front, speeds up and slows down based on that car's speed, and it can even bring itself to a complete stop in this model. So the way that you turn this on is with this stalk right here. To turn the system on in the first place, kind of pull it forward towards the driver, and now the system is activated. To set your speed, you just push that button at the end of the stalk right there that says set, and then once you have the speed set, you can increase it by bumping to the plus or decrease it by bumping to the minus. This distance changes the distance that the car tries to maintain between you and the car in front of you. Plus goes for a longer distance, minus goes for a shorter distance. We are getting some rain today, so I'm going to be using one of the longer distances just to be on the safe side. And then I don't know if I can get it on camera, but on the top right here, you'll notice it says cancel and resume. So if you pull it towards you, you will resume your speed. That's if the vehicle had brought itself to a complete stop, or if you had to hit the brakes and intervene because you thought you were going to hit something, then you could just pull forward to resume. Push backwards to cancel, like that. You can also hit the brake pedal to cancel it, or just push all the way back to turn the system off completely. Now, the lane guidance is a system on this car that only functions when you have the adaptive cruise assist set. And to turn that system on and off, you push this button at the end of the turn signal stalk right there, and it'll tell you on the screen, at least on this particular model, adaptive cruise with or adaptive cruise without. And on this information screen on my virtual cockpit, if I use my little scroll wheel, then we'll get down to the driver assistance. So that's the screen we'll be looking at. So with all that being said, let's get this beauty out on the road and see how it works. All right, so I am out on the road. I'm going to pull the little stalk towards me right there to activate the adaptive cruise system. I'm going to push the set button to set my speed, and you can see right here we are locked onto the car in front of us. He is slowing down and we are slowing down. I do not have my foot on the brake or the gas. Now he is speeding up and we are speeding up. I'm actually going to change lanes to get into the middle lane because that'll probably work better for this. Now, here's the situation. So when you have the adaptive cruise set, it's really meant to be locked on to the car in front of you. This light has turned green, so the car in front of me is moving, and we can see from the graphic that we are locked onto him. But if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're using this system out on the highway and there's no traffic in front of you, and you have it set to a higher speed, 60, 70 miles an hour, and all of a sudden you're coming up to a whole bunch of stopped traffic, just hit the brakes, take control of it yourself. That's not the situation that this system is meant to deal with. It's meant to do what we're doing now and stay locked onto the car in front of us. And again, I am using a little bit of a longer following distance there because it is raining today. And let's see, the car in front of me has gotten out of my way. So now this car is accelerating, but now I can see it's locked on to the next car in front of me, but now he's getting out of my way. And now we're locked on to the next car in front of us, so we are just going to stay here and be locked onto the car in front of us. You can see the green lines. The lane guidance is active, so even in the rain, the system is reading the lane lines and has the confidence in its information to activate the lane guidance. It does go gray occasionally and then turn green again, so you have an idea of when it's active and when it's not active. And this is incredibly smooth flowing traffic. Now we can see we have a green light here. Something else to keep in mind, this particular system does not read traffic signals or stop signs. So if I wasn't locked on to anybody and the light turned red, I would have to hit the brakes myself and bring the car to a complete stop. Or if the car in front of me ran a red light, you know, if I wasn't paying attention, I would also run that red light. So that's why you know, it's not self-driving. You do need to pay attention to your surroundings and make sure that that you are doing your part as the driver to avoid any unforeseen circumstances. Got some braking going on in front of us. We are slowing down, but we have not come to a stop yet. That's okay. I haven't hit the brake or the gas since I pushed the set button on the end of the stock. That's just how the system works. Now, if someone were to cut you off very sharply from the side, that would be a good time to brake, because the system primarily looks forward. It does not have the greatest peripheral vision, although it does have some, but you can react faster than the car's system can react. All right, I finally found a red light. So we are locked onto the car in front of us. As we can see, we are coming to a complete stop. And boom, right there. The car just brought itself to a complete stop. I do not have my foot on the gas or the brake, so we can just sit here and wait until the vehicle in front of us moves again, at which point we will have to intervene because we've been stopped for more than a few seconds. So the light has now turned green. I am just going to kind of pull forward on that little stalk to resume. And again, I do not have my foot on the accelerator. The car is accelerating on its own, and we are cruising. So that is really the cool thing that this system can do. It's also the kind of slowing down and speeding up, creeping forward in heavy traffic that I find very enticing about these systems. One thing to keep in mind as we come to a stop again is what type of vehicle am I following? Always pay attention to that. The example I always give is a flatbed truck with nothing on the bed of the truck. Is your car actually locked on to the actual back of the truck, or are you locked onto the back of the cab? So, you know, keep an eye open for weird shaped objects like that. Oh, and the car decided to start going on its own there, so we weren't stopped for quite long enough, so I didn't have to do anything to intervene. And we are cruising, and it's a beautiful thing. The other type of vehicle that most systems that I've messed with will follow them. My Acura Integra actually shows a graphic of a motorcycle in the front, but I really don't like following motorcycles when I'm using this system, just in case if it's too small of a target, if the car gets confused. You know, if you hit somebody, regardless, it's bad, but if you hit somebody when they're on a bike, it's worse because you could injure them worse. So that's a personal preference on my part. You know, and I always mention that flatbed truck thing because, quite frankly, if you look in your owner's manual for whatever car you have with the adaptive cruise, it's probably in there. But, you know, I've never actually had a car do that, lock onto the back of the truck instead of the back of the cab. But it is possible, and it is something you need to watch out for. Again, you need to keep in mind, this is not a self-driving system. I am watching the road. I do have my hand on the wheel. I am ready to intervene at a moment's notice if something goes pear-shaped here, because that's what you need to do. This is simply meant to be a driver aid. It takes some of the stress out of driving. And I normally don't use it on surface streets. I make my how-to videos on surface streets because it's easier to have the car come to a complete stop usually and be able to demonstrate that portion of it. But a couple of my personal cars have adaptive cruise control, and obviously I drive a lot of other different kind of cars that have it. When I use it, I typically use it on the highway, either on long drives or heavy traffic situations, so that, you know, it takes some of the stress out of gas, brake, honk, gas, brake, honk, 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 gas, gas, gas. Put a comment if you know where that's from. It just takes some of the stress out of that situation, so that's why I like it. They must have synced up the lights on this section of road, because I'm having trouble hitting a red light, which, you know, normally a person doesn't have trouble with such a thing. We're slowing, but we're still going, baby. See, this is good though. Like, we're down to 13 miles an hour and now the car is going to speed up. That's where it's good in heavy traffic like that, just to take some of that stress out. See that BMW getting in front of me? That was fine. The car will lock onto him and compensate for that. That wasn't close enough to where I would have had to hit the brakes for him. One weird thing, and see, that's why I don't normally use this system in surface streets, is you see how when he got out of my way, it took the car a second to realize it had a clear path ahead. I actually hit the gas a little bit there to kind of give it a little bit of encouragement once the path was clear. And then now I've taken my foot off of the gas and it's just cruising normally again. So that's something else to keep in mind. You know, again, not self-driving. It's a driver assistance system, and it's by no means perfect, but it's very, very, very good. Very, 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 very good. The only other thing I really have to say, and I covered this in the intro since I can't get this thing to come to a complete stop again, and I don't need this video to be 30 minutes long, is when it comes to a complete stop, if you need to intervene to get it moving again, you can just tap the gas pedal as well, if you'd rather do that instead of pulling forward on the little cruise control stalk. So that's pretty much it. That's how you use the adaptive cruise assist and the lane guidance in an Audi, which is still active there. So thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, leave them down below on the comments, and I'll do my best to answer it. And have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.